Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, man. It's summer. It's like August is coming, hot weather, so we're gonna do the top 3 baits for August. But first, before we do that, I want to give away my baits for July. I had some great comments on YouTube. We just randomly went down through there. Jake Taylor, man, I appreciate the comment. He said, Edwin, your videos are awesome. Said a bunch of other really nice stuff there. Just thank you very much. Mark Rickardson, thanks for including up north. A ton of YouTube videos out there. I appreciate you sending the comment, Mark. And last but not least, Jerry PH40. Man, I wish I had stumbled on your channel sooner. I appreciate it, Jerry. You guys, those 3, Mark, Jerry, and Jake, you guys need to send me an email through my website. It's super simple. Just go to my website, send me an email that you are the winner and your address, and I will get those baits from July coming your direction so you will have them in your arsenal the next time you're out there fishing. So with that said, August, when I think about August, there's 3 things to think about before we get into these baits. Starting early, that's a key component. Like, get out there at daylight. Don't be in bed. I did a video last year I filmed right in August. It came out September 3rd or 4th, but the title of it was, you can still catch big ones in the summertime. And I caught really big fish on Grand Lake. I'll just throw it out there. But it was at daylight. I mean, that's just how critical it is. It's a great video for you guys to go back and watch if you have time. The other thing, so 1 point, starting early, get out on the water early when we're talking about largemouth. The other point, docks. I think about docks a lot when it gets to August. Man, it provides shade. It provides, just bluegill spawn behind them. They can move shallow to deep really easy. And I feel like there's a lot of areas on docks that people don't put a lure. So by the time August rolls around, we've had lots of fishing pressure. I have a little bit of added success on docks, and I've got a bait picked out here for those. And then last, finesse, suspended fish. Everything tends to suspend in August. That starts to happen in August. And man, I got a bait for you guys that you're going to have to throw in August. For sure, smallmouth. It's a smallmouth bait, but let me tell you, it works great on largemouth and spotted bass. So let's get off into the baits. First and foremost, we talked about starting early in the morning. Man, that is going to be a topwater. That video I referenced is a Jaywalker 120. I'm throwing this on 50-pound braid. I'm throwing this across flat points, just covering water with this bait. Another one is a Chapo. Man, this Chapo really shines in the summertime, late in the summertime, just covering water, the sound, running shade lines. Really good bait. And then last, I've got this toad. I know I've talked about these frogs a bunch, but I'll have this on a buzz bait. I'll throw it by itself over grass, but just a great bait. I don't know what else to say. I've said this before in my videos. Just because I'm saying these baits are in August, you can go back and watch the July video. Those baits are still gonna work in August. But and I've mentioned another toad in that video, but it's just a bait that I'm going to have tied on in August. Topwater fishing. Again, this is going to be on braid, either on that buzz bait or by itself. 50-pound braid. The Chapo is going to be on braid. A 7'1" medium action rod. All those are going to be on high gear ratio rods. Yeah, that's going to be those baits right there. Now, the second thing I mentioned was docks. Lots of baits work on docks, lots of baits. But, one in particular is a big worm, just a big magnum worm. This is the Berkeley Maxcent Kingtail worm. It's an 8-inch worm. It's fatter. It's got a big old ribbon tail on it. Another favorite worm of mine that I don't have here, but it's really similar, is just a big power worm, a 10-inch power worm. I'm going to rig these worms with a fairly light weight a lot of times. I'm gonna have a fairly slow fall going down. I know I talk a lot about having a heavier weight. This is one of those times that I'm gonna have a 3/16 or a 1/4 ounce weight when I'm fishing, 10, 12 feet of water. If I'm getting a little bit deeper, it's gonna be a 1/4 to 5/16 weight. I'm gonna have it rigged with a 5/0 hook. I'm gonna have it rigged on 14 to 17 pound fluorocarbon line, a 7.3 heavy action rod, high speed reel. But these worms really shine this time of year. One, the shad's gotten bigger. It's a big meal for those bass that are just feeding once or twice a day. It's a great bait at night. It's a great bait in brush piles, and it's a great bait around docks. So have you a big worm tied on wherever you're going fishing for largemouth. It's a bait you need. It's just a bait you have to have tied on. Last but not least, we've got a really neat bait right here. You know, it's a spy bait. It's a bait that catches fish suspended in the water column. Josh Bertrand, he designed this bait, a guy from out there in Arizona, really clear water, Lake Havasu, Roosevelt Lake, all those lakes out there that really are hard fish to catch, especially in the summertime. He designed this thing, and he's got two different versions of it. He's got a fast sink and a slow sink. And when you look at this bait, you think, man, that's little. That's a smallmouth bait. It is not just a smallmouth bait. Yes, it shines on smallmouth. You know, Kevin, he won an event. Kevin Van Dam, big time power fisherman, cranker. You know, we all know how great he is, but he won an event up on the St. Lawrence Seaway throwing a spy bait. It's just a bait that shines for smallmouth, but not just for smallmouth. Guys, I've caught largemouth over grass beds, you know, over outside the grass edge on this bait. Spotted bass, it's phenomenal. Bring it across those brush piles, you know, that you've got, those cane piles, whatever those things are you got there in the southeast. You know, it's a great bait that when those fish are suspended, and they won't come up to the top, you know, to eat a topwater, they won't go down and chase a drop shot, that's when you pull that spy bait out. And when Josh designed them, he's got that slow sink for anything above 7 feet. You know, that's what you're gonna use. You know, like if you're trying to get it down below 7 feet, it's gonna take too long. It's a slow bait to begin with. Use the fast sink for anything below 7-8 feet. Would be the recommendation that I would give you, and how Josh designed them. The other thing to think about is line. 8-pound leader, braid. I'm one of those guys, when I've thrown it, I throw it just on straight fluorocarbon. I want a little bit of added stretch in there. I know Josh, he throws it on straight braid with a leader. That all is probably going to dictate to how soft a rod you have. If you've got something that's a medium light spinning rod, you can get away with that braid. You know, if you've got a little bit stiffer spinning rod, then go all fluorocarbon, because you're going to have a little bit of added stretch in it, and you can also get that bait a little bit deeper. Now, with that said, on the spy bait, you know, I'm kind of going off on this thing here. It's not a search bait. It's a bait that you need to use as a cleanup bait. Use it, you know, if you've cranked across that spot and you throwed your worm, you throwed your hair jig, you throwed your spoon, and you still see a few fish sitting around there, or you just make a cast of that spy bait. Let it come through there really slow. If you see a couple of them out there, you know, suspended, you know, and they won't go down on that drop shot, that's when you throw that spy bait out there. Count it down. It falls basically about a foot a second. Man, I gotta take a time out. My wife is going to bring me lunch, and she's gonna ask what I want for lunch. Just hold on. You guys just hold on 1 second. Hey, babe. Oh, good. My belly button is touching my backbone. I'm super hungry. I'm about to starve. Near-death experience. I'd love to place an order for Kate on the Sonic app. So, yes, I'll be glad to. All right, love you. All right. We're back to the spy bait. I was just talking about how that thing is just a cleanup bait. It's not a search bait. Don't use it, you know, going out all day long and you're throwing that. This is a bait, you know, that I'll throw down the side of a dock, or in an area that I know there's fish. I'm not going to go searching like you would with a crankbait or you know, even a Carolina rig or a football jig. It's a bait that, it's kind of a cleanup bait. Think of it as a cleanup bait on suspended fish, over grass beds, over an area where you know fish are. Show them something that's a little bit different. You know, black's a great color. It's a neat color in the fact that, you know, we talked about the little marabou hair jig, synthetic jig, the Andes jig that I used at the St. Lawrence Seaway, or just a bait you have to have in your arsenal. You know, black's just a great representative of the same thing there. Other than that, you know, I like, you know, really transparent colors for the more stiller, calmer days, you know, for spotted bass. For largemouth, you know, for smallmouth, I want to have a solid color, more of a, or maybe something a little bit brighter, you know, with some chartreuse on it, something like that. But great bait, one you need to have in your arsenal. One, I promise you, you guys will add some fish to your daily total if you throw this thing in August on your body of water. You don't have to just be smallmouth fishing. It works for largemouth. all across our country, guys. So guys, I hope these baits help you. They're not the only baits you're gonna throw in August, but there's some of those baits that I want you to think about. I try to get you guys to think outside the box a little bit, to remember a few key points when you're out there fishing in August. Early in the morning, boat docks, suspended fish, finesse with that spy bait. So think about those things when you go out. I appreciate you following along. Be sure you comment, like, subscribe. That way I can choose you to win these baits. And then tune in next week. We've got the series Where to Start, sponsored by Optima Batteries. We break down three lakes where I would go start on those bodies of water to get you to think, man, these are some areas maybe you can look. You know, maybe it'll give you an idea on your local body of water where you need to go in the month of August. So guys, I appreciate you following along. We'll see you next week.